Hi everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how to bind off and sew down a double folded collar. The way that I'm going to show you today leaves you with a really nice stretchy neckline, and it looks really nice and beautiful on the inside. It provides some good structure around the neck without being too rigid. I use this technique in my shift sweater design, which I'm currently knitting another sample for. If you want to check out that pattern, I'll put the link down in the description below. Otherwise, let's jump into this tutorial and take a look at how we do this collar bind off. Okay, so I'm at the beginning of my round. I'm going to peek inside here and find my neck edge. And I want to follow the column under my first stitch all the way down. The first stitch on my needle is a knit stitch, so it's going to look like a purl column on the wrong side. I'm going to follow this all the way down. And as you can see, this is the beginning of my round. And I want to pick up one of the legs of this stitch along the neck edge, and I'm going to put that on my needle. Okay, next with our working yarn, the one that we use to knit our collar, I am going to knit these together through the back loop. Okay, let's get a little bit closer and let's do another one. So the next stitch on my needle is a purl stitch, so I'm going to look at the wrong side and I'm going to follow that knit column all the way down. Pick up one of the legs from the stitch along the neck edge. I'm going to put it on my left needle, and we're going to knit these together through the back loop. Okay, so now I have 2 stitches on my right hand needle, and normally we might just take this stitch and pass it over this one, thus binding off a stitch. However, this next step that we're going to do is actually what keeps this collar stretchy and prevents it from being too tight. So instead of passing that stitch over, I'm going to slip both of these stitches over to my left needle, and we're actually going to knit these 2 together through the back loop. All right, that creates some extra slack along the neckline and prevents our collar from getting too rigid. Let's do another stitch. Got my knit stitch here. I'm going to find the corresponding purl column on the inside, pick up one of those legs, put it on my needle, and knit together through the back loop. Slip both of these stitches over to my left needle and knit those together through the back loop. Okay, I'm going to do a couple more and then catch up with you. Okay, so I've worked a few more stitches in my collar, sew down / bind off, and essentially what we've done is create an additional stitch between each bound off stitch. Just going to put that aside for a minute, hopefully not lose that loop. And as you can see, it's maintained some stretch. Another benefit of this bind off is you get this kind of pretty braid effect on the inside. I think that just looks really nice and it gives the sweater some really good hanger appeal. This has quickly become my favorite way to finish double folded collars. I used to just sew down the live stitches, but I find this looks nicer and gives me the same amount of stretch. I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of this collar and then I'll check back in. Okay, so I'm just wrapping up the last few stitches of my collar bind off. And I'm just binding off these last few stitches to close up the collar. So once again, I am just picking up a stitch from the neckline, knitting it through the back loop together with a live stitch from my needle, and then knitting the last stitch and this stitch together through the back loop. Okay, we've got the last one here. I'm just gonna reach in and look for that knit column. Just barely see it in there. Pick up the nearby leg of the stitch from the neckline. Knit these together. And then knitting these final 2 stitches together. I have this one, and now I can break my yarn and just pull that through. There we go. So you've got this kind of funky transition right here, but it's really easy to fix up. Okay, I grabbed a darning needle. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to go through that first stitch that I had bound off, going under both legs, pulling that through, and then I can go back into that last stitch I bound off, and that kind of creates a fake little stitch there to bridge the gap, and then I can weave this end in like normal. Okay, so this is the result. Our collar is super nice and stretchy, and we have a really pretty little braided edge on the inside. This was also much faster than just sewing down the live stitches with a tapestry needle. I did this in under an hour. I don't know about you, but sometimes sewing down the live stitches can take me what feels like 2 or 3 hours. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this. I hope this helped. Let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments. Thanks, and I will see you guys in the next one.